Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues. Botswana's maximum energy demand is estimated at 861 megawatts, while the current capacity for electricity production stands at only 460 megawatts, which comprises of 300 megawatts from Morupule B, 90 megawatts from Orapa Power Plant, and 70 megawatts from Matselagabedi Alstom Power Plant. That is more than 400 megawatts short of meeting national maximum demand. And Botswana from all spheres of life continue to bear the brunt.
Because one, I tell you about 50,000. This is in 10,000 and some of them call 40,000. Now my guy is like Isahamudu. Hanga who wants the fruit or the fruit they Hanana Fuji didn't
business are na kana umpio kana trusa fex ramogela ditro tsa rona ka fex go jantse tsang ko makala neng a tshwana le go pusong yalo mo di cooperative kae ba re fex tsa gore nya re khouteleng ho gore le tere la pele le tele direng jaano ha ile gore fex ga e bereke fa fex dirisa motlakase fara gore ga re kgone go bona tiro
e dira di business a di plan so ntse di plan tsa ma. So from last week motlago simola go batho ba ne ba gore ga ba kela gore a gona tema mo di projecteng tsa bona ba boa ka di positive ba bang ba bua ka di balance. So go ra re motlago so go simolana go simola go kgaoga o nkamile tota
gompieno hankare ke tsenya quick e tebe sa report motho o tla ba tsamaya ka madi ha sena go tsamaya ka madi nna ke sela ke reng ke sela ke bona that message gore quick ene ke tsentse e tsamaile mme motho ya no ene ga ntsha madi gore e nna loss gore ha e re ke tsenya 100 pula ke sela gore ke sela ke bo 50 pula mo teng yana gore ke go tshega gape ga go tsena ke go ga madi a ke tse ka beile gape go tsenya gape gona hale
motlaka se o simolla go kgaoga go amile di sales thata tsa fill station go be di thata ka re lisa di customers tse di sela go ga borona.
so far we've lost all our customers ba ntseng ba ja
one mantonyana ke nang le one hanga go bontsha ga go ra ke re go mo go nna on and off gore senyetsana maka tsele e ntsenya o ka bona gore nama e nna ya so go mohela ka bo gonela mo nka se ke re ke bitsa motho ke re tla o rekela mako gonna go ntse ya ka go ntse ya no tsela pedi ke tsae a ke BPC a ke kae ga ke itse.
For years, we have heard one story after another with regards to the Morupule B power station. In June, we were informed that the country will need another 1.5 billion pula to repair the various problems at the station. What is really going on? What is being done and what could have been done better? The Minister of Minerals, Energy and Water Resources, Kitso Mokaila, joins us this evening to address a number of the questions circulating about the ongoing power crisis and government's response to it. Welcome back to First Issues as we speak to the Minister of Minerals, Energy and Water Resources, Kitso Mokaila, about government's response to the ongoing power crisis in the country. Under the terms of a contract reportedly worth close to 8 billion pula, the China National Electric Equipment Corporation, CNEEC, was to have delivered a 4 by 150 megawatt circulating fluidized bed power plant by October 2012. But the project has been mired by highly publicized cost overruns, and there's even talk of government suing the contractor for the delays and their resulting expenses. Morupule B's development was plagued by unforeseen factors such as inclement weather and a truck driver strike in South Africa. But the government's claims against the contractor are expected to focus on technical faults encountered during commissioning, as well as the contractor's non-compliance with safety, health and environmental standards, which they believe compounded the delays. Technical faults at Morupule B include boiler failures, leakages and blockages, and non-compliance with safety standards have resulted in 3 fatalities. We asked the minister, after all that has happened with Morupule B, what he would do differently if he had a chance to start the process all over again.
What I would do different would be to ensure that the company that we deal with, one, has people that speak English. Because I think the first thing is understanding each other. 2 would be the issue of similar cultures. Work ethic in terms of culture, they are different from different cultures. 3, our oversight would be more intense. We would have better oversight than probably we did for Morupule Bay.
Our guest has made the very interesting observation of there being a difference in work culture among various providers. But what kinds of differences is he referring to? And what kinds of implications would these differences have in the overall management of a project? Minister Makaila expands.
I would want to believe, for instance, the Germans are known for their absolute professionalism, absolute zero tolerance of anything less than perfect. That is the culture that we should want to work with, always.
Given that a project of this nature will undoubtedly present different challenges that will call for course-setting or course-altering decisions at major points, let us hear from Minister Makaila what some of the more difficult or painful decisions he has had to make throughout this entire process to resolve the power crisis have been.
The most difficult decision was to separate the EPC contract from the O&M contract. EPC is engineering, procurement and construction, and O&M is operations and maintenance. The contract, as envisaged at the time way back in 2007, 2008, envisaged that the contractor who built the plant will be the contractor running the plant. So one of the first lessons, and once I got in 2012, was it became very necessary that we had to separate the two, because it provides a check and balance in itself.
It is almost a given that whenever there are challenges with projects of this scale, subconsciously people may begin to wonder about the validity of the information being shared. That being the case, was there any point at which government thought that management of the utility was being economic with sharing the truth?
I think there was enough information for planning. I think what we found ourselves in was a corner where the supply from South Africa we knew was terminating on the 31st of December of 2012. It took 4 years to build a plant, and therefore by the time we got to the shortlist and all the other European country manufacturers left the tender process and we were left with the 2 contractors we did, it was a question of time. So we were pressed, we were in a corner.
Welcome back to First Issues as we continue our conversation on the response to the ongoing power crisis with the Minister of Minerals, Energy and Water Resources, Kitso Makaila. The entire installed generation capacity of Africa's 48 sub-Saharan countries is just 68 gigawatts, no more than that of Spain's. And as a result, the power crisis Botswana is experiencing is far from an isolated problem, with more than 30 African countries said to now be experiencing power shortages and regular interruptions in service. Because the problem is so widespread and presents such far-reaching developmental obstacles, the proposed solutions to the crisis have come through fast and thick. There's a loud call for the investment in renewable energy. Others have called for public education on the retrofitting of various electronic devices for more economic use of electricity. Some have put forth that a major increase in tariffs would curb demand and thus the need for load shedding, while others still have encouraged investment in more power stations. But surely building more power stations and the continuation of load shedding are not sustainable measures to managing demand. We look to Minister Makaila to offer some of the more innovative solutions he is aware of.
You see, we've been more worried about supply rather than demand management side. We've been more worried about churning out power from coal. We should be looking at renewables. That is one way of innovation. 2, energy efficiency is another. Allowing people to, actually produce for themselves in terms of renewables. Solar.
We are now joined by Kim Kin of Letsatsi Renewable Energies, who proposes the retrofitting of light-emitting diode or LED lights as a solution to the energy crisis. LED lamps having a lifespan and electrical efficiency that is several times better than incandescent lamps and significantly better than most fluorescent lamps.
Immediate effect of Gaborone is to retrofit the whole city with LED street light. Just a street light in whole as a GCC, we have plus minus 25 to 30,000 street light in constituents of 70, 150, 250 and 400 watts. If you can replace that with the LED, you can reduce more than 60% of the power consumption on demand side. In other words, if the city council is using 10 megawatts, you can reduce by 50, 60, 5, 6 megawatts. So you have a 6 megawatts, like a virtual power station that you own the 6 megawatts that you can distribute somewhere else at the business or domestic areas. So we can ease the load shedding on retrofitting, even just for the Gaborone City Council, a street light, that you can reduce maybe 6 megawatts per hour. Every household is using, what, 2 kilowatts a day? 2, 3 kilowatts a day? So 6 megawatts means 6,000 kilowatts. So you divide by that 3, it means 2,000 household power supply. A lot of domestic users or household people, they don't really think of, yes, a small valve, one cost, there won't be any difference on my consumption. But yet, they put a light of 60 watts of 10 hours, then it's 600 watts. Instead of you putting 7 watts, it's only 70 watts. From 600 watts to 70 watts is almost 90% a reduction of your consumption. So if we can retrofit even at the domestic level of the CFL incandescent light, you can reduce your load shedding by 50%. The countries that we did retrofitting, actually our company, as Electricity Renewable Energy, we did retrofitting in Mali 3 years ago, the town of Mali, capital city. And from there we went to Guinea-Conakry. Mali was not that bad because the power situation was not bad. But Guinea-Conakry, as a capital city, the load shedding there was about 16 to 18 hours a day. And we went to go and retrofit the whole town of Guinea-Conakry, the capital city, with a street light and the domestic. The load shedding was reduced by half, which was about 8 hours. They were running a diesel power station, 90 megawatts.
The initial cost of this technology is usually higher. How then would our guests respond to those that may say Botswana does not have the capital investment needed to make the switch to LED?
Well, because of the initial investment is so high of replacing or retrofitting the LED light, yes. But government should really think in long term. They are importing so much power, wasting of our resources, or not turning the economy around on business sector. They are losing more money of load shedding than invest on a new technology of light. I think it can offset of investment within 2 years. Let's say if you have to retrofit 1 million valve in the whole town of Gaborone, the amount of that you saving of importing the power, you can pay within 2 months. You are spending millions of pula every month to import the power from South Africa, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, I don't know where. Of that 100 megawatts, 200 megawatts. We can retrofit the whole country or whole industry, the mines and all over, and you don't have to import that or run the diesel generator for a short period. Then the government have a proper plan to build a thermal power station, which is, we have the most coal in whole world that can produce a cheaper for the public. I don't think it's a good idea to increase the tariff for the public. I think they should increase of education up to public that they should use this modern technology.
Mr. Kin resorts to a demonstration of his own personal use of LED lighting to help our viewers understand how this innovation saves electricity usage, as he has said.
We had the fluorescent light panels like here, one that we remove. We removed from those fluorescent lights were 1,750 watts. I replaced with a 10 watts downlight, 4 of them. In my office, I saved already about 96% of power consumption. And I have a better lumina than the fluorescent light. Here you will see the immediate effect of 10 watts, what it can do on this room. This is only 10 watts downlight. Look at the lumina from previous. These are LED light that we, for the office that we're using downlight. There are 10, 20, and 30 watts that we replace on different applications.
Mr. Kin made a very sound case for LED technology and the game-changing benefits it could bring about for the local energy industry and the wider economy. But what does the minister make of this very convincing proposed solution to the power crisis?
It makes a big difference. But what we should follow it up with is legislation so that we do not allow those that we do not want to come into the country. You remember BPC did an exercise several years ago where it changed about 1 million bulbs, and they were actually able to recover 50 megawatts or close to 50 megawatts. But what happened is that there was no legislation now to stop importation of the ones that are obviously causing us higher usage. So the reason I say we need legislation to make sure that the bulbs that we import into the country are the efficient ones.
To conclude our conversation, we consider the fact that our guest has recently been quoted as saying that in the next 4 years, Botswana will be generating 1,200 megawatts of electricity against the demand of 900 megawatts. And that at that point, the country will be a net exporter of electricity to the region, opening up a new forex spinning industry. What is the plan in place to reach such aspirations? Minister Makaila shares his vision for energy infrastructure development in Botswana going forward.
Inviting competition is one way of encouraging changing business. For instance, we are now talking about IPPs, independent power producers. That competition to BPC has to up its game. So introduction of IPPs, introduction of other sources of supply in terms of solar or gas or whatever, that in itself is one thing that will change BPC. The issue is immediately to fight for self-sufficiency and parallel to that, become a power exporter. And I believe with the decisions we are making right now, by 2018, 2019, we'll be right there. If you look at what we are doing, Morupule A refurbishment, the revitalization of Morupule B, an additional 300 megawatts, and an additional 300 megawatts, and solar farms, it should be all done.
We now continue our conversation from last week, sensitizing the First Issues viewer on the intricacies of bank account fraud with the help of fraud and investigation manager, Horata Seboku.
Fraud knows no boundaries. It doesn't matter where you are, the organization that you work for, the people that you work with, the people that you interact with. It comes from all angles. So as an organization or as a financial institution, you would see, the most respected committing fraud, the most trusted committing fraud, your customers committing fraud, you know, generally, everybody does commit fraud. It knows no boundaries. I could be disgruntled as an employee of the organization, and you know, because I believe that I'm not being recognized duly, I may in return retaliate and believe that I can fix the organization by either stealing or helping criminals out there to commit fraudulent activities. It could be, you know, the pressure, peer pressure. It could be because, you know, the society that we live in dictates the kind of life that we are expected to live. The gadgets that we use, cell phones, the cars we drive, the lifestyle that we live, the houses that we live in. These are the things, the pressures that we see, you know. Ultimately, people end up committing fraud because you want to be seen to be belonging to a certain class. You want to be seen to be, you know, living a specific kind of life. So in the process, because you are desperate and you cannot meet this certain expectation, you end up committing fraud. In every organization, where there is opportunity, staff or anybody can step in. They are factors that are contributing. One, it could be because individual staff members have realized that much as the controls are in, they are not being effectively implemented. Where they realize that, you know, the next person that I present information to doesn't cross-check effectively, does not interrogate information effectively, that is when they're going to step in, because they know that I am trusted so much that, you know, there is no need for me to cross-check, or the next person to cross-check information that comes from the initial or the inputter or whoever initiates anything. And in the process where we identify such loopholes, this is where then criminal activity steps in.
We thank you for tuning in. As usual, if you'd like to share tonight's conversation with friends, family, or colleagues, feel free to forward or share the link found on our YouTube channel page at www.youtube.com/Corp Interaction for this and other past episodes. Until next week and another issue of interest, I, Nametso Samakula, the team behind First Issues, and our sponsors, First National Bank, wish you a good night and pleasant viewing.